Okay, my friends, here it is. This Saturday morning live stream at the Garden Like a Viking headquarters, Zone 5/6. And we are coming to you from a foggy, cool, overcast, rainy time, which is ideal for me. I love this kind of weather. Humboldt County used to be like this all winter long. The big difference, though, the reason I loved it there, where it rains for like 6 months straight, basically, it's overcast and rainy for like 6 months, is because that is the time there in Humboldt County when things start to grow. The wintertime is when everything comes to life. In the summertime there, everything dies back and becomes brown because it doesn't rain once for 6 months straight. But then when the rains do come back, it just rains nonstop, basically. And I love that. Everything has adapted to that. So in the wintertime, the little waterfalls start going again and everything comes back to life. The ferns and the grasses turn luscious green again. Everything is so beautiful. So it reminds me of that, except it's different here because everything looks like dead little twigs. All the leaves fall off the trees and stuff like that. And there's not nearly as many deciduous trees there in Humboldt and stuff like that. So, okay, guys, let's do the sound check real quick. Turmeric. What I say. All right, guys, let us know where you are at. Nita Van Neer, hello from India. She says, hello, my friend. Yes. As you probably remember, I spent a lot of time in India, very dear to my heart. Rode a Royal Enfield around India, 2 separate expeditions. I was there 3 separate times. Spent in total a couple of years of my life there. Love India. So, yes. Okay, good. Thank you. Lisa T. Boney Bates, thank you. Donald Hughes, thank you. Hey, Boney Bates, which one of those lures with the scented worms that you sent me from your company that you have making scented lures, which one would be ideal for carp? Do you know? Does it matter? Will they just eat everything? We're going to have to end up fishing for carp real soon down at the dam, probably. So guys, if you have experience fishing for carp, I only have experience spearing carp, which is different in this river that we're not going to go to this year. So with a pole, what's the best way to fish for carp? Okay, we just need the most amount of mass that we can get. And there's tons of carp in the river. And they're kind of invasive and nobody eats carp. So, we need to figure out how to get them. So, okay, guys, thanks for, yes, turmeric. Turmeric is the sound check, and it is because I was staring at this delicious ferment right here, guys. Now, as you might remember, I have fermented the turmeric with some black pepper and sea salt and a little bit of the brine from the sauerkraut, because that's how this new method has us fermenting stuff, with a brine, which is turning out to be amazing. I mean, so you make a whole batch of sauerkraut just to dedicate to using the brine. But you only use salt and cabbage, no caraway seeds, no juniper berries. And so far, it's working really well. Everything is being successfully cultivated. And this turmeric is like really, really different than it is unfermented. I mean, the fermentation process brings out some of the floral notes, many of the floral notes. I mean, it just, wow, it just smells like flowers. It just smells like the middle of, you're standing in the tropical rainforest. I mean, literally, it's so clean and crisp smelling that, wow. And then when you taste it, turmeric has never tasted like this to me. It totally has transformed the taste and the smell. And this is how we keep fresh turmeric all winter long in the refrigerator. Now, this year, I didn't get around to planting turmeric, but I have in the past. It grows exactly like ginger. So we will be growing turmeric this year when we start the ginger. But so this I had to get from the store, which is, of course, inferior, vastly inferior, but still better than just dried stuff. So I will be using this in the recipes. Oh, so good. Yes, wonderful. So let's see here. Boney Bates says, carp are typically vegetarian. Ooh, so the worms wouldn't really work for them unless you cut them into small ball-like chunks. I would use the garlic one if you do that, but it's best just to use corn. Corn, huh? So you just hook little things of corn onto the hooks. But yeah, the garlic one, we'll cut a little. We've got a couple of those left. We'll cut some small things of the garlic, and then maybe some corn on it. Oh yeah, Big Wes agrees. Says put niblets corn on the fish hook, about 3 corns per hook. Okay, there we go. Okay. Let's see. Kip Tap says, Nate, I'm busting out cloves to plant, and I am noticing the top 1/3 is a gray color. Can I plant, and what is it? So you're talking about garlic, of course, right? You're not talking about the walking onions. So that's the thing that I'm still exploring about garlic is that kind of thing. I'm still exploring all of that. So I can't say definitively because I've tried several different practices and they yield various results that have still not been to the point where I can say, yes, that's definitive. Because we still get some of the gray. Now, gray, is it like a mold or is it like a dehydration? Because when I went to the Urban Farmer Seed Company in Indianapolis on the way down to Tennessee to get a bunch of garlic, she schooled me a little bit, and they would know. So she schooled me a little bit on the difference between like a fungal infection in the garlic and just it dehydrating. The dehydrating type garlic, you can still plant. It's no problem. She said she still pretty much plants everything, but that it doesn't really carry on like that. So it's undefinitive. Some people will say, oh, just do this and it'll be fixed. But I don't, it's not really like that in my experience yet. So this year I'm going to plant, it's not even planted yet, the garlic. We're still 2 weeks away from planting it, I'm sure. We will plant the garlic, and then this whole garden this year, this winter, will get at least 5 applications of full-strength JMS, of a good quality JMS. And so in my experience, that really helps to balance things out over the winter time. So now some people talk about they can do a hydrogen peroxide soak to the garlic cloves. You know, I've killed stuff with hydrogen peroxide, so I just have my reservations on that. Not saying it doesn't work. It definitely does for things, but I need to know more. I need to know someone who's experienced with sort of sterilizing their garlic cloves with something. How do you do it? And do you know for sure? You didn't just see a video of it, or you didn't just hear about it. You know for sure. Right. Rick says, I've never seen gray tipped garlic. I mean, me neither, really, unless it's like a mold. Okay, dehydration-ish. Yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Yep. Oh, Big Will Dog says, make balls of corn with cornmeal and some corn flakes. Nice. Okay, we will do that. Let's see. Papa McMuffin says, a hair rig with sweet corn is best for carp or boilies. Carp are more active and more hungry in midsummer than they are now. When the temperatures are higher, they will feast a lot more. Oh, I'm sure. Yes. Yes. Sharon, yes. If you see black mold on any of your ferments, toss it. And it probably was because it all wasn't submerged under the brine, was it? Or you let it ferment out too long. Yeah. So yeah, if there's too much stuff on if there's too much on it, then you need to toss it. Definitely, don't take any chances, because it really shouldn't. There shouldn't be anything on your ferments other than the light yeast bloom, the white, the light kind of feathery white, not like real fuzzy whites and grays and stuff. It's just a real light. So that will be fine. Yeah, I know. CyberCert says sound is not good. Clicking sounds or clipping. I know. I don't know what to do anymore. I've done literally every single thing that anyone's told me a different microphone, different streaming software, different cables, I just have no idea what to do. But yeah, the sound is terrible in my opinion. And the StreamYard, I don't get it. It just like is all compressed and it's all like clicking and just horrible sound. So I got to figure a way out, but I'm just over it for the moment. I don't know. So Lisa T says, is it okay to wait a few weeks to plant walking onions? Didn't you already plant them? Everyone should have got their walking onions. If you haven't got them by now, well, everyone's got their walking onions, except for a couple people that we had a strange situation, but they've agreed to wait till next year because it is way too, well, not way too late. You could still, but you don't want to. They're in dormancy now. Yeah. So Freebird, what's up, my friend? Check this out, guys. Someone was thinking of me. Yes. Thank you, Freebird. Look at this. And this is a little bit more representative of me 2 years ago when I had the this type of beard. And believe it or not, I used to do this kind of thing to the beard, but I don't anymore. It just felt a little bit too cosmetic for me. It felt a little bit too like wearing makeup or start putting beads in the beard and stuff like that. It just didn't feel right. So, but very cool. Yeah, little voodoo doll, guys. Thank you. And when I get the land and we have like the whole thing will be all about, presentations and videos and seminars and stuff. So wherever I do the live streams, I'll continue doing them for forever if I can. And wherever we have that, behind us is going to be like a wall where all the letters and all the cool stuff that you guys send to me is going to go there. Okay. It's going to have to be back a ways because there's going to be a lot. There already is a lot, but I want to display all of them. Yes. Like this thing. Look at this that another one of you guys sent. You've seen this before. Look how awesome that is. Garden Like a Viking headquarters. And I know because I used to tool some leather, not like anything serious, but I've tooled leather several times. It is real work. I mean, that is no joke. You have to literally trace that out and cut it and then take a pounder and pound that down. This is hours of work to tool leather like that. I mean, unless he's some kind of like stone cold pro, which obviously it looks like probably is because, so Cross Timbers Leather Maker in Pryor, Oklahoma. That's who sent this. Just sent it without any lettering or anything like that. So thank you. And Freebird, yes, you will get the stickers. All of you guys will get the stickers. Don't worry. If you sent me the envelopes and stuff, I still haven't sent them out. So, but it'll happen righteously. It'll happen at the right time. We don't have to worry about that. So everyone will get them, definitely. Especially the OG ones, the original ones, before I make the transition to the other types of stickers. So, but Freebird, yes. When you always plant things like that, even rotten potatoes, yes. The only real drawback is the passing on of the diseases. The potential is high. Yeah. Meyer Lemon says, the only thing that I know for sure regarding a hard no for garlic is that white mold. Ruins the bed for a decade. Ooh, you need to put in some more JMS and some more sulfur. Add some more sulfur to the soil. In fact, if you guys are using the Viking granular nutrients, then you don't have to worry about it because it's got copious amounts of sulfur and magnesium and calcium and everything the plants need. But if you're not, then the one thing that you should add to your allium beds is sulfur, elemental sulfur. Add the sulfur. It can be pelletized, but it's better to have the powder because it disperses easier. Now, you can do that now because it takes some time to break down in the soil if it's in the elemental form. You can also order some fertilizers, what they call Sulpo-Mag or K-Mag. It's a soft, it's like a rock type mineral that full of sulfur. And also another good fertilizer. It's also in the Viking granular nutrients. But you want to get that sulfur into the soil. One, because it's going to help to sweeten the experience for the garlic. It's going to really help to ensure that they can absorb all of those sulfuric compounds that they need to create the pungency that they want. So and also it's going to help to sort of expel or cleanse the growing medium of the pathogens that we don't really want, because it's very antimicrobial, antifungal to a degree. It's all relative. It's all relative. So don't think that, oh, if I add a little bit, it's going to wipe out all the microorganisms because it's antifungal. It doesn't work like that. So let's see here. Ooh, Keen Garlic has a good instruction on how to soak garlic. They recommend isopropyl alcohol, vodka peroxide for 10 minutes before doing baking soda and fish kelp fertilizer for 30 minutes or longer. Wow. Can you direct me to that? So just look up Keen Garlic. I would have to see that, because man, alcohol, all those things, or just some peroxide. I would have to know the ratios and stuff, because I have totally killed stuff utilizing those kind of soaks. Mo says, however, I see videos who flip the soaking advice all the time. I did a third of my garlic soak to experiment. Yes, I need to. Yes, Rick, Carp is fertilizer, definitely. I need to get a barrel brewing. And I pretty much the only fertilizer, fish fertilizer I want to use anymore is the FAA, the fish amino acids, just because of how pleasant it is to work with. There's no foul smell. It's the most concentrated of all the fish fertilizers. You spray it on the crops and stuff, and it doesn't attract flies like the other methods can. The JDOM definitely, but even the hydrolysate, the fish hydrolysate, can still do the same. It still smells not the same until way down the road. The JDOM and the hydrolysate, given a full year or longer, they'll also mellow out as well. But yeah, I'm just gonna do the FAA. Yes. So Don Padawan says, everything is still growing and alive in Kentucky 6B. Buckwheat cover crop still thriving. Nice. Glad to hear that. It's just starting to finally get kind of cold here, but check these out, guys. We still got this stuff growing, no problem, okay? So we've got just pulled out the carrots yesterday, just pulled out some carrots. If you guys aren't on the new Caruda train, you need to get on it, because these things produce nice, hefty, there's some good weight to these carrots. And this is just in peat moss and Viking granular nutrients. That's all that this was grown in. That's it. No compost, no leaf mold, no soil, nothing else. Because the carrots like a soft, fluffy soil. And if they have to go through rocks and stuff like that, then they'll split and they'll get all gnarly. So I just got like one bale of the Pro Mix, 1 or 2 bales of the Pro Mix, made a bed dedicated to the carrots only, about 12 inches deep. And actually it's about 24 inches deep. Yeah, it's 2 2x12s. And then filled it with the peat moss and the Viking granular nutrients. And they grow like this, okay? Nice and easy to work with, easy to grow. Oops. And so this is a good variety to grow. Now, you can do it in the ground. The new Caruda will work really well, but it's best. Carrots are the crop that if you're going to make a bed or make some growing pots or grow bags, not pots, but grow bags, then carrots are the one thing it's worthwhile doing, because the rest of the crops, it's not so bad. I'm about to show you a beet here real soon, and that can power through. That can have clay soil and stuff like that. Carrots can't. Most people that fail with carrots don't have the right soil. All that you got to do is get the right kind of soil and the right nutrients, okay? So if you wanted to do it on a budget, if you weren't going to get the Viking granular, then if you wanted to do it on a budget, you could do peat moss and alfalfa meal and bone meal. And that would be good enough. That would be good enough. Because they do require a lot of nitrogen, more than most people think. But they also want that bone meal. And you can just keep going further and further. Also some K-mag, something like that. Or some wood ash. They love that, definitely. But you need to get something because obviously the peat moss is inert in the sense that it doesn't have any nutrients. It takes a long, long time to break down, and there's not a lot of nutrients in it. So you need to fertilize if you're using that. But you see they got that little root down there like that. And these things, it's big, guys. This thing's for real. And we ferment them. So we ferment them with some black sesame seeds. Ferment them, of course. We put them into stews or a couple of years, cut the tops off and put them into a tote with moist sand. I know I haven't got around to making a video on that. I probably will for next year. We didn't have enough carrots to warrant that for this year, but well, maybe we do. Just moist sand. You cut the top off and it will keep it, so long as that sand doesn't totally dry out, it will keep it nice the whole winter. Yeah. So just to let you know that. But now another thing that is, let's see here. Yeah, Big West, my calendulas are all blooming again too. I know. Let's see here. Lisa T says, can you make a short on that lovely turmeric? Many thanks. Yes, I'm going to make shorts on all of these, or even a regular fermenting video on many of these things, but probably not this year. I just need to explore it more, because this is my first time doing many of these ferments. So I need to explore it more to make sure that it works. I don't want to put my stamp on it and then have it not work. So this is a ginger ferment. Okay, this is fermented in a similar way, but it's just ginger and sea salt. So it's I put it in the Vitamixer though first to puree it. And so hopefully, if all things go right, then it's just going to be fermented, and I can take a scoop out and put it into the dish. Think of how amazing that would be to have that all winter long. You don't got to cut the ginger and all that stuff, because I cook with ginger a lot. I love it. But if I could just take a spoonful out and put it into the stir fry oil, whoa, that would be game changing. That would be amazing. But let me show you why I decided to ferment the ginger. Okay. First, let me take a huge slurp of this. So if you're sensitive, plug your ears. Ooh, yeah. Guys, do you know anything about this plant? Give me some advice, because it's the only house plant that I've had difficulty growing. I've tried several times. This was years ago though, 4 or 5 years ago, and I've killed both of them. And I've got an absurd amount of house plants in this place, and they're all thriving. But this one, the string of pearls, is one of the most beautiful ones that there is, in my opinion. But it's very finicky. So I just got this one from the local greenhouse, and it's already starting to vine a little bit. So do you have any tips, growing tips on the string of pearls? Because, I pretty much know they're a succulent, and so they don't like to be overwatered. And I'm quite sure that was my problem in the past. I was overwatering them. I'm almost positive. So now I've got them right upon a west-facing window in the bathroom. So it gets fog, mist from the shower. Yeah. And let me show you guys one of the best things I've found. If you live at the moment, I live in the city and stuff. And so we these were like the worker bee quarters back in the industrial days of Fort Wayne, when it was like Raytheon or Ray Magnet Wire and GE and all these huge industrial factories and stuff. These were like for all the workers, So these houses are literally, I could just look right into their bedroom, right there. It's just enough space for a car to fit through the middle, and then they go back a ways. Fortunately, it's not bad. Many places, this is a lot of space for many places. This is not going to work for me for too many more years, though, obviously, because we need to be getting onto the land. But if you currently live in a place where you're right up your neighbor, up in their business, then here's a good way. Okay, get this stuff and put it on the windows. Okay, so it just goes like this. It sticks right to the window, and you cut it. You put it on the inside of the house. You cut it like this, and you peel off the film, and it sticks to the window. And so it makes it, you can't see, you can't make out anything, but it lets the sunlight through. And so my houseplants love this stuff because you don't have to keep a blind closed. So up in the bathroom, the whole window is this. And so it's nice and bright because it's west facing, and it's nice and bright. So I've got all kinds of plants right up to that window, and they just love it. They're all growing towards it. So here is what I'm going to put in there. There's what I'm going to put in there, right in the window. I've also got a philodendron. I've also got a some type of Dieffenbachia, but I'm not sure which type exactly. But I can say beyond any doubt that this stuff is awesome. And you don't have to worry about it. Claims that it's UV blocking, but it doesn't block it all out because these houseplants are going crazy, and they have been for some time. So this is better than blocking the windows, okay? And also, if you like houseplants, you need to put a mirror opposite from every window. If you come to my place, there's like 5, 6 huge mirrors on the walls just right here in this room. And they're opposite from all the windows. And it totally amplifies, it doubles your light in the house. It really does. Put it opposite from every window and boom, it's like having additional windows. So there's way over there, there's a mirror, and it's like there's an open window over there. It's fantastic. So what's up, Mom Computer? Says, sorry I'm late. I'm never late. Got carried away researching. That's right. One thing leads to another. Well, it's understandable if it was in the pursuit of knowledge. So, okay. Kim Williams says, they like lots of sunlight and very little watering, grow in poor soil. Okay, well, that's pretty much what we'll do. Very little watering as in like a succulent, like basically if they're in the bathroom getting humidity, they're not going to need any watering basically. Because that's pretty much the route I'm going to go. I'm just going to almost not water them. But one question I have is, how root bound can they get? Do they like being root bound? Like for example, the pothos loves to be root bound, and that's when it starts to vine. You see this tiny little pot? This thing is already starting, and I just cut this in the summertime, and look, it's already starting to vine out. See, it's already starting to vine out. Now, if you put your pothos into a giant pot, it's going to sit there and look like it's not doing anything for like a year until it fills that entire root space. Then it will start seeking out additional space. But if you want them to vine properly, you need to confine their roots. You see, this is only 3 months old. And so is the string of pearls similar? Does it like a confined root space like the philodendron does, for example? Or does it like to have, should I up pot this? At what point would I up pot this? Yes? And probably very shallow root system, I guess, right? I reckon it's very shallow root system. So, and here's how I like to do houseplants, guys, because look, you can just have the nice clay pot, which the clay pots, unsealed clay pots are the best for outdoors, or if you're living an indoor-outdoor type planting system. But for indoors, they're not really the best because they kind of breathe, which is one of their defining best qualities, but they can kind of look nasty over the years, and they will... So here is what I come up with. This is a really good, it doesn't look that good, but it allows you to regulate the water level and to tell how much you're going to water. And it allows them to soak up that water for a long time. So you can see this tiny little thing is very healthy. And I just cut it in the summertime, middle of summer. So that's a good way to do it. Over the years, I've discovered that that's probably the best way. So, what? Aaron Johnson says, string of pearls. I have 6-foot long pearls. Oh, man. You need to put pictures into the Discord chat, please. What? Lisa T says, this year I'm processing my ginger in the Vitamix with a bit of water, then juicing it at about 20% of the liquid as vodka, and it keeps for weeks and weeks. Okay, yes. How would you use it then? If there's the vodka flavoring, the alcohol flavoring. For me, this is going to work way better, obviously, because we don't need no vodka around here. But for fermenting and for tinctures, I perfectly understand. So are you making a tincture out of it? Graham, okay, yeah. That was the slurp alert, wasn't it? Yes. Signal lost, yes, and Pepper Gardener. Some AMSR or ASMR, right? Let's see here. Lily Lotus says, thoughts on crop rotation. Highly over-exaggerated in the home garden. Yeah. Highly over-exaggerated in the home garden. Not entirely necessary. It's a thing that's recommended by the county extension office. Contact your local extension office, university extension office. What are they an extension of? They're an extension of the industrial ag system. And so they will just regurgitate the knowledge that the big ag has fed to them. And so they will say, well, you have to crop rotate because of disease and nutrient things, blah, blah, blah. You don't really have to crop rotate, especially on the home garden scale. Crop rotation is for corn, wheat, soybeans. In these practices that they use now where they just seriously deplete the land and never put anything of actual value back into the land. So yes, you will need to crop rotate at that point. But is it necessary in the home garden? Like if you planted tomatoes there, do you have to crop rotate and then put something else there? Otherwise, the tomatoes are going to get a bunch of viruses? No, that's not true. In my experience, I've gone years without crop rotating, but I do crop rotate not out of how do I want to say it? Not because I fear growing something in the same spot year after year, because I'm nourishing the life in the soil. I'm replenishing everything. And for several years, I was doing chop and drop in those locations. So everything was getting totally remineralized, renourished. The aerated compost teas and the JMS are really helping to take care of the of whatever kind of thing might be in the soil. Now, I do crop rotate though, just because I like to plant things in different areas. It just feels, I just go by feel. And so I'm always trying to optimize like the location of everything. So based upon how a certain area performs, if it stays wet or if it stays more dry, I'll plant different crops there, or just the sunlight, or I just go by feel. So I do end up crop rotating, periodically, definitely. Especially if it's like if you live in like zone 5/6 or northern Indiana, that kind of place where we have a nice long growing season. And so you can grow like 2 things. So like this year, I'm going to plant like 4 beds or maybe three beds of garlic. Yeah. And then knowing that in the next year, those 3 beds are going to be harvested like by July. Those are pretty much going to be harvested by July. Oh, yeah. And so knowing that, I will plan to have the fall cabbages go in right as soon as I harvest those garlic. Or you can do a run of bush green beans. I did that several years, and that's a great crop rotation, because then once the bush green beans are done, you will put the garlic back into there, and that helps to supercharge the soil. Things just grow really well after beans and peas have been there, regardless if you let them flower or not. It still is beneficial, yes. But so that's a crop rotation, and I know that the onions are going to come out about the middle of July. And so I plan after that. You know, daikon radishes will go there. The winter beets will go there. The fall crops will go in those spots. So I have that already planned out. But for example, the next year we're growing a boatload of peppers again. This year was more of an experimental year for peppers. So we grew like 15 different varieties of peppers because I really wanted to experiment with them. So I found several different kinds that I really like. And we're going to, for spicy paprika, we're going to use these lute showers from these Hungarian spicy paprikas. But remember, if you're using a paprika for its spiciness, you want to leave the seeds because that's where most of the spice is. So see, we leave the seeds here, but for that reason, we do not blend them up until, you know, I'll blend up as much as I'm going to use like in the next month, because once you blend it up, there's like a fat type, there's like fat in the seeds and it oxidizes quickly and it can degrade the flavor. So you want to leave them like this as long as possible and then blend them up. Oh, so good. So good. So we're going to grow a bunch of these next year. And we're also going to grow the Ivarsky peppers, probably a whole bed of Ivarsky so that I can make smoked paprika and regular paprika. And because that's the one that I've settled on. All the other ones this year, they were great and stuff. This one, you know, for spicy paprika, but for regular smoked paprika, the Ivarsky pepper is beyond compare because of just the way that it holds on to the smoke, and the flavor is so delicious. So, and it's sweet, so you can eat them all summer long as well. So it's real nice. Yeah. So let's see here. Yes, Lily Lotus. I will make a video on crop rotation probably like next year when I get the beds. The beds will allow for a lot more methodical ordering of things, which we're doing now. I mean, the beds are getting done now. Yeah, Sam Potzik says, good to know. I was going to put my pothos in a large container. Not if you want it to vine. I mean, it will eventually vine, but it can take a full year before it fills out that space. And so it'll just sit there for a long time, not really doing anything. And then you will see. Because see, this one has, this is just a single pothos. And you see how it's growing them long roots out there? And it's filling out the space before it really starts to vine. Because they know that the roots is what they want. Okay, Aaron Johnson says, I find that they do not like to be up potted often. Okay, so in your experience then, how long could I let this go? Because if it's anything like the pothos, in those, not this small of one, but in the next size up, you know, the ones that's like that, I've had pothos and philodendrons get 15 feet long in that little tiny pot, just like that. I mean, really get super long. They love it. So, and the one I have in the 5-gallon pot is like 30 feet long, and it goes just all over the whole wall and everything. So, ooh, nice. Actually, Sam says, I actually started growing pothos after seeing his vining up the walls on the inside of the house. Yes. Okay, Aaron says, I wouldn't not water it. I'd say once a month. If you don't water, then it gets water. It will rot. That's how I killed 3. My big one is very healthy from 2 waters a day. What does that mean? Yes, Jason Hetty, definitely. I've done this as well. If you watch my video last year, we did the fermented ginger, honey, turmeric. So good. So good. Now here's what we did. Look at this, guys. And I just harvested this not long ago. It was just like a few days ago. Okay, so let me get this clear real quick, and then I will show you guys the amazing ginger. Okay, it's a fact that gingers grow the best ginger. And so look at this. Okay, Here is, and we are in northern Indiana, okay? So most people are like, what? You can grow ginger there? So in the springtime or in the late winter in February, I went to the co-op and got some organic ginger. And this is the original piece, okay? So you see right there is freshly broken. The rest of it is all healed. So this piece was connected. When I pulled it, it was like this. And it had a bunch of roots dangling down from it like this. This one piece is the original, and it stemmed this entire thing. And that's how it grows. And if you guys could see this stuff, it is so plump and juicy and citrusy. It's fruity. It's fruity and it's soft and it's tender and it is delicious. And so it's far superior to anything that you can get in the store. It really is. It is. Look at how plump it is and how just full of gingerol. Is that the right gingerol? Is that the essential oil that gives it the smell and the taste? So that's what we had. So, all right, it was just this tiny little thing like that, and it starts this whole big thing, which it actually went on further, but I busted it apart. So that's how ginger grows. It starts with the rhizome, and it puts roots downwards, and it puts shoots upwards. All these shoots were like 4 feet long, 4 feet tall. And then it puts rhizomes sideways like this. You see how it's all connected? Oops. And that's how it likes to grow, just like that. And so these fat pieces right here are going to be real succulent. Yes, real succulent. So, yes. And yes, okay, Jay, good to see you here. Says really busy, so treating like a podcast while doing landscaping. Yes, yes. Bony Base, how about a video on how to make the paprika? I actually did make a video on it. So go into the playlist, the Preserving the Harvest, and I show you exactly how to make the stuff. Yeah. So I just am so happy with this. And so we got like probably 10 times this amount. We probably got 10 times this amount from one 30-gallon grow pot. That's all we needed. One 30-gallon grow pot, which probably was about 6 of these, pieces. Maybe 10, maybe 10 of these pieces in a 30-gallon grow pot with a boatload of Viking nutrients. 2 whole quarts of Viking nutrients in the 30-gallon grow pot. I mean, that's as heavy as you ever want to use any fertilizer, even organic stuff. And the ginger thrives with it. Ginger is so incredibly hungry that I have yet to reach the upper limit. And you know that I will, because that's just how I am. So next year, I'll probably try and put 3 quarts into the 30-gallon grow pot. And then we'll have a catastrophe, and then I'll know, okay, that's the upper limit, but that's just how I like to do things. But as of right now, boatload of nutrients produces the highest quality ginger that there is. All right. So that's why we fermented it, because I was like, man, this stuff is, you can't possibly use it all. And it only keeps for like 3 weeks to a month. It really does not keep very long because there's no skin. You see, it just, you don't have to peel it. The skin just like brushes off. I mean, there is no skin, basically. It's just all paprika, or it's just all ginger. You don't have to do anything. So yes, this stuff is well worth growing. And we made all that kimchi with it. We made all these other ferments. And that's off one 30-gallon grow pot. That's all that you need. So I just want to keep showing this because of how awesome it is and how easy it is to do once you get the system down. Just make sure that you fertilize it enough. That's the key. That is really the key. So we're going to make the ginger, turmeric, lemon, honey ferment with this one. Yeah. Shave it real nice and thin. Oh, it's going to be so good. Argle Bargle says, Viking nutrients, how did the mixing go? Yes, if you guys follow me on Instagram, then you will see that So if you go to Instagram right now, there's, I think my latest post is just like a little 10-second montage of the experience, and it worked out great. I mean, I need to go mix more further and utilize it more, but the mixer is everything I could have hoped for in it. I mean, the mixer is nice and big. And so I was using as a part, you know, because you got to do 3 parts of this, 4 parts of that. There's 15 different things or more in the Viking granular. And so I was using a gallon as a part. And that would only do like 3 buckets, you know, at a time. But now I'll be able to use a bucket as a part. And we'll be able to do like 10 buckets at a time, which is going to be way better. So that's going to really streamline things a lot. But we're not going to sell any of it until we get the website happening. So all of that is going to probably be late January. But there's going to be plenty of it available for you guys if you want. So you can pretty much, I mean, I've got all the nutrients, all the pallets of nutrients, all the buckets, the mixer, all that stuff is already on site. I got it. So we're pretty much guaranteed. So you can count on it as being, if you want, as being your nutrient source, you know, for this upcoming year. You can count on getting a bucket or 2 if you want it. If not, no big deal. So Graham, red hair originates from Ireland and Scotland. It's a Celtic thing. Yeah, you wonder how it originated in the first place. You know? And yes, it's my dad's side is Scandinavian, Norwegian, and my mother's side is more like Northern Germanic. Yes. So let's see. Oh, a month. Okay. Yes, a month. Thank you. Okay. Sal says, "Hi Nate, could you show the old piece of turmeric that you planted? Is that also attached to this new piece of turmeric?" Okay. Remember, this is ginger, but turmeric does grow the same way, and I have grown it the same way. Okay. So yes, this is the piece. This is all that there was, just that tiny little thing. And when you're doing it, you want to make sure that there's 3 eyes. Each piece, and I got a tutorial on this. Each piece, 1, 2, 3 eyes, okay? So because one of those eyes is what was attached to this. And so it looked like this. When I pulled it up, it was like that. This little piece right here was attached. There was a bunch of, the roots are real thick, like this, real thick, like alien tentacles. And so it grows like this, and then from there it creates all this additional rhizome. I could see how in its native environment it might almost be a little bit invasive. Well, just in the sense that it'd be hard to get rid of because how it grows by rhizome, and then it breaks off so easily. It breaks off, so it just breaks off so easily, and that will then start growing again. But remember, ginger is a tropical plant. It does not like even the slightest bit of cold. It likes it to be like hot, and it can take the most shade of any of the plants that I've grown. So ginger is really unique in the sense that it's very, very hungry, but it also doesn't need full sun. I planted some in full sun a couple of years ago and just cooked them. I mean, they didn't like it, but they eventually recovered, but they didn't yield nearly as much as the one that was directly up against a north-south running fence, wooden fence. So it got half the day of sun, but then that's it. The rest of it is full shade. And it wasn't even half the day. It was only less like 3-4 hours of full sun. But then I had one that was underneath a tree, literally last year or the year before, some 30-gallon grow pots. And I had this different experiments going. The one that was under the tree, full shade, did the best, which is crazy. I don't know how it does it, but it loves it. So, oh, free bird. Thank you. Thank you. I know. Okay, good. Aaron Johnson says, I wouldn't say, I say I wouldn't up pot it for a year at least. Wow. Okay. So it can get nice and long. They can get all over the place, right? In this pot. That's going to be good. That's all I need to know then. Graham says, I find ginger keeps in my fridge for months. You're probably talking about store-bought ginger, not homegrown ginger. Store-bought ginger will keep for much longer because it's got a thick skin on it. It's just grown differently. But this kind of ginger is what they call baby ginger. Not because it's any smaller, but because there's no skin on it. It hasn't had that time to develop the skin. Taida says, I'm trying to start some ginger right now. That piece looks perfect and beautiful. Oh, it is, definitely. But what are you starting ginger right now for? It's a little bit early. Or are you going to grow it indoors? Welcome to the club, Jay Bramer. New member. Thank you, guys. All the members. Thank you very much. Let's see. Freebird loves trying new things, pushing the envelope. I almost threw away potatoes I thought were too dried out. Planted. Potatoes are one of the wonderful things that you can just plant. You can just plant them and they will grow for the most part with varying degrees of success. Okay. Let's see. I have grown ginger. Sal says, I have grown ginger and turmeric in the UK, but they are not big at all. I guess it's because of poor weather. Also, what can I feed them so they grow big? Right. Well, remember, watch my tutorial on it. And ginger and turmeric, well, ginger especially, does not start rhizome production until 4 months into its growth. Okay. So you can't just plant it and expect to harvest it if you live anywhere but the tropics. You have to start it indoors and you have to start it early, like February 1st, so that you will then harvest it. Like last week, I harvested this. So it's a full 10 months basically of growing in order for you to get this. So most people, they don't have enough time. When they don't have success with ginger and turmeric, they don't give it enough time. You got to start that stuff early. Because like I said, it takes 4 months before it even starts producing more rhizomes. It spends all that time building infrastructure. And so then when it comes time to split apart and to start the rhizome production, it does it pretty rapidly. And then just remember to keep it nice and well fed. Compost, manures if you have them, and you know that they are, you know that they're good and clean and not contaminated with the broadleaf herbicide. Yes. What's up, Elusive 323? Yes. Kip Tap says, thank you, Nate. I'm counting on the Viking fertilizer for next year. Yes, you can pretty much count on it. Yeah, I'm going to. But this year, well, I'm going to have to get, I have to apply for a license, fertilizer license, and all of that stuff. There's just so much footwork that needs done before you can really do it. But I'm not going to let that stop me either way. Never did before. Donald Hughes, no. It won't hurt it, but it will really slow it down a lot. If you can, because basically from now on, once it's below 50, it's like being in the refrigerator. And things take forever to break down in the refrigerator. So it won't hurt it microbially speaking, the fish amino acids with the brown sugar and the fish. It won't hurt it microbially speaking, but it will just arrest its development completely. It will just stop decomposing until the temperatures get higher, above 50. Here's another thing I want you guys to check out. So chamomile, okay? Chamomile. I planted it in the spring. Yes, welcome. I planted it in the spring and, well, actually, okay, so last year was the first year that it overwintered. I had some chamomile overwinter, and I found out that that is by far the best way to do it, is to plant your, if you can, if you have outdoor spaces, is to plant it in a sheltered area outdoors anytime from August on, well, from like September onwards, okay? Because it will flower and be done by like, middle of June. the chamomile will be done pretty much. Even if you're harvesting it with that tool, we got boatloads. Well, not boatloads, but we got like probably one of these full of the chamomile because we got that harvesting tool. But then it just dies back. No matter how good of quality you take care of it, doesn't matter. It just eventually dies back. And then, though, that was in like the middle of June or maybe first week of July. Then I planted more, and I mean, I just sprinkled out those seeds, or some of them just fell to the ground, and more grew again. And we've got flowers out there right now, a whole nother crop. Not a big crop because they were mostly volunteers. I didn't intentionally do it, but you can get 2 flowerings in a year. But better yet is the stuff that you sprinkle and you can start it like now, and it will grow like this. Look, I just went outside and brought this in. This is the ginger, and these are outside in these pots, and I got a whole tray full of them, and I'm just going to leave them sheltered in an area where they will receive snow and a little bit of sun and stuff over the winter. And these are going to be just fine. I mean, it got down to -5 degrees Fahrenheit last year, and they survived. So these will be just fine. Yeah, especially if it's going to be below like 0 Fahrenheit, then I will cover them with something probably just to give them, because some of them did die. A couple of them did die from that -5 degrees Fahrenheit. But then most of them bounce back and they grow real well. So planting it now is a great time to plant chamomile for some really good success. Yeah. Let's see. Freebird says, I have wild chamomile growing everywhere. What? In Indiana? I would have to see what that looks like. Ooh, okay, Joe. Never had a problem catching carp with worms. Chum with corn. Okay. That seems a little more doable for me, for my setup. To chum with the corn. There you go. What's up, Eric Kemper? I'm sipping with you. Just tuned in. Yes, it's a wonderful thing. You know, some people well, it just doesn't even matter. Senator Joseph McCarthy isn't here anymore, so we don't have to worry about that. Not like we would worry about it anyways, but okay, so the now look, now I already showed you this magnificent carrot, okay? I just want to show it to you again, okay? It's nice. It's got good weight to it, okay? So these are the kind of carrots that if you grow them in the ground or in a shallow raised bed, meaning like 8 inches or a foot, then if I wasn't going to redo the entire garden right now, which I'm doing, then what I would do is what I've done before, and I would just cut the tops back right about now and cover the whole bed with about 2 feet of straw. Yeah, at least a foot, but like 2 feet of straw or leaves, because you're going to remove it. You know, when you want to get some, you can remove it. You can also cover them with those bags, those brown leaf bags. You know, if you go out and collect them in your neighborhood, you can just put the whole bag, don't even dump out the leaves, put the whole bag on top. And that will insulate it so well that even, I mean, it has to get brutally cold for them to freeze. Because if they freeze solid, then they're dead and they'll turn to mush. But if you can keep them from freezing by insulating them, then you can have them basically most of the winter. I mean, not last winter because I didn't do it in time, but previously though, I've had them all winter. You can just go out there and dig them up, move the mulch aside, dig them up. And that's in, you know, it gets cold here. It can get really cold. So you definitely can do that. Yeah. And so, oh yeah. Look to Nature says, I killed my chamomile patch with excessive leaf mulch. Definitely, it does not do well with mulch. It will not power up through anything, really. It's very, very delicate in the beginning. It's very delicate. But things like chamomile, their natural survival mechanism is the numbers game. because each flower head has probably thousands of seeds in it. And so each flower head, so it's so if you have a big bushel of flowers in the wind and all that kind of stuff, thousands upon thousands of them are going out all over the place. And if just a couple of them survive to adulthood, then that's perfectly fine. You know what I mean? Now, look at this. Okay, one more slurp. So, as you know, I prefer the Cylindra beet. That is the best one. We're going to ferment. We got a whole patch of beets right now that are still growing. And yes, I transplanted them. So in the future, except for carrots, I don't think there's anything else that I'm going to not start up. I mean, literally. Because this year, well, corn, but this year I started up everything. The squash, the beets, just everything. I started up literally everything, and it all worked good. But you got to know what you're doing. You got to know what you're doing. Most people are way too abrasive, and they don't understand the practices right. And so, but if you use these kind of pots and you just gently, I did cucumbers as well, and it wasn't not stunted at all. If you just gently tip them out of there and then plant them very gingerly with some compost, then they do wonderful. And they virtually don't even notice it. And so I did the patty pan squash that way, and they did wonderful. So, and the beets did great, guys. Look, so I do Cylindra beets, which I like the most. Those are the sweetest beets, and we're going to ferment those. They're much sweeter, and they don't taste as much of soil. Other beets can taste like soil, which is great because it's reflective of their mineral content. But at the same time, it just tastes like soil. You know what I mean? Which can be good. But if you have the alternative to have a Cylindra beet that tastes sweet, like sweet compost, okay? Do you know what I mean? If you're a real grower, you'll understand what I mean. Like it tastes appetizing, like sweet compost would taste. Yes. You smell, whoa, man, you look at it full of life and richness. The body is just going, yes, yes, we want that. We want that stuff, And what's amazing about the handful of compost that it's got tons of nutrients in it, tons of nutrients and life force energy, vitamins, minerals, all of that. The body says it will signal, yes, yes, we want those nutrients. But here's the magical thing. That it's all about transmutation. That's the whole game here, is all about transmutation. Because that handful of compost, you cannot eat that and get the minerals out of it, or the vitamins and minerals. You might get some, but it's going to cause more havoc than not. Likewise, you can't just rub that compost all over your skin and go sit out in the sun and absorb its minerals. It doesn't work like that. Even though all the minerals are present already in the compost, they can't be absorbed in that form by the human body. They must first be transmuted into another form by way of the plants. The plants will take those minerals and, utilizing the power of the sun, capturing little photons, little pockets of energy that are traveling very, very fast. It's just capturing them and unlocking those photons through the photosynthesis process. It's capturing them. They're going unimaginably fast from the sun, captures it, and then it unlocks the energy that's stored in each one of those little pockets of light energy. And then it says, okay, now we can use that energy to combine all of those minerals and the gas from the air, the carbon dioxide. We're going to use all that stuff and combine it, transmute those minerals into a form that is usable by us. Then the plant doesn't care that it's usable to us, but it just does that naturally. That's just the marvel of the plant. And so then we will consume the plant. Now, all of a sudden, those minerals can be absorbed. Now they do become useful because they've been transmuted. So the process of transmutation is so crucial in many aspects of life, of course. But when we talk about minerals, there's no more obvious case than the minerals. So you've got some beautiful soil out there and you're wondering, like, why does that soil smell appetizing? Why do I suddenly get like a good feeling of being grounded and being nourished? And why do I get like a good feeling of satisfaction and sort of comfort when I'm holding and smelling that soil? Why? Have you ever thought of that? It's because the body's like, yes, that's what we need. That's what we want. Okay. Now, many of the minerals get transmuted again through an animal, and then they come to us. The vitamins and minerals and proteins come to us. So, grass, for example, full of all kinds of nutrients and life force energy and um, chlorophyll and things, but not directly absorbable by us. Okay. So, all the nutrients that are in the grass, we can't just go out there and eat fistfuls of grass and get the nutrients because it's just not designed like that. They have to first be transmuted through the animal, the cow or the deer or the buffalo or whichever animal it is. And then we can consume the animal. And the animal has unlocked those nutrients for us in a similar way that the plant does. And some of them have to be transmuted again through another step in the food chain. Then we can eat that animal. Then it can get absorbed by us. So it's just really, it's never ending complexity. There's a never ending like magical complexity to it when you really look deeply into it. So it just really makes me, I'm in awe when I think, because I can just stare at things and think of that whole process all at once and just be like speechless. Wow, that it's all just working. It's all just keeps working. How does it just keep working? And so I don't know how it keeps working, but I do know how to utilize those powers. I do know how to utilize that force. I don't know what causes it, but we know how to utilize it. And so we can grow things like this bull's blood beet that transmutes the soil. And that's why it tastes like soil. There's tons of iron in it. There's tons of vitamins and minerals and nutrients, especially in these tops. And one of the best things that are in the beets is nitrates, especially if you grow it in nutrient-rich soil, which of course we do. The nitrates that are in beets. This is not the same kind of nitrates that is in your deli meat. Those are man-made chemical nitrates, which are terrible for you. But natural nitrates, like found in the beet, is really good because the body converts that to the nitric oxide, which dilates the blood vessels and allows for increased blood flow. It's all about blood flow. So you want to get the beet juice, will dilate the blood. It's a vasodilator. And so it allows the nutrient-rich blood to circulate through the muscles more, through the brain more, by relaxing the endothelial layer of the vein, right? The inner lining of the vein. And so it will allow it to pump more blood. And that's what we want, especially when the blood is full of nutrients because we're drinking things like this. So this I will make juice out of. So we will juice the entire thing. Don't forget the greens. Bull's blood is one of the few that has red leaves. So it's in the beet family, or it's in the obviously the beet family, but that's one thing that sets it apart, is that the whole thing is really dark red. And so it's got all that good nutrients in it. You juice the leaves, the stems, all of it. So it's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful thing. Just holding it made me go off on that big rant. So there's my rant about that. Yes, Dave G. Those cows are thriving on the bacteria and microorganisms in the grass. Absolutely. It's a whole different world that is foreign to us, that we can't just go out there and eat the grass and expect the same thing to happen to us, because it's just not designed that way. Absolutely. Look to Nature says the quickest form of compost is passing our refuse through the guts of our livestock. Absolutely. It really is. Big Will Dog says, dumb things eat the green stuff. Smart things eat the dumb things. That's a funny way to look at it. But of course, what do we consider smart? We would have to define that first. Thank you, Freebird. I'm glad that you're here I'm glad that you're into it. Yes. So let's see here. Let me put up a banner real quick. Yes, guys, don't forget to do all of your shopping on Amazon through the link in the description. Guess what? Whoops. Ooh, Lisa T, nice, says picking up Bates family beef next month. Can't wait. Yes, we just picked ours up last week when we did the interview with Jerry on my other channel. If you guys are interested in the master cleanse or the cold training or the sauna therapy or the kettlebell work, Jerry, the beef farmer from my video, he does all of it, and it's transforming his whole experience. He's loving it. And so we did an interview on the Thrive channel with him last Monday. And so he explains his experience about all of that kind of stuff. He explains his experience with the master cleanse and whatnot. So definitely check that out. And we picked up the beef, which was phenomenal. I mean, so much beef. And it was great. I took it home and immediately took one of the sirloin steaks, sliced it thin, and had some purple lady bok choy from the garden and sauteed it, stir fry over rice. Oh man, super delicious. Can't wait. And I'm letting the beef liver thaw out, of course, because as soon as we are done here, guys, I'm about to dig into this beef liver. Yeah, half pound of beef liver at a time. That's the good way to do it. You see, it's just kind of thawing out right now. Half pound at a time, pretty much twice a week. And that will really help you to make sure that you're not getting deficient in minerals and vitamins. But guess what? There is a company that Brian says, Nate, are you going to have a Christmas video? Probably not this year. I mean, just because you're talking about like of different things. Just because my main crew is here in the live streams. And so you see me talk about things and stuff. I could do that. That might be good. But you see me talk about things. There's going to kind of be a Christmas video though, because that leads me into my next topic. Guess what? There is a company that finally got me. And so I'm going to do a sponsored video. Just one product video. But here's why. I want to tell you why. One, because it really doesn't have anything to do with gardening. So it's not like a fertilizer company or a gardening product. I'm not like endorsing a fertilizer that I don't believe in or anything like that. It's an electric bike. And they hit me up. I was looking at these electric bikes anyways, because I just really like them. I see them all over the place, and they're great fun in the summertime and stuff. And so then this company contacted me and was like, hey, Garden Like a Viking, do you want to do a deal? We'll send you one of these bikes for free if you make us a little video and post it on your channel. I thought, okay, now there's something that is worthwhile. So I talked to them and stuff, and they're like, okay, yeah, we'll send it to you. I was like, whoa, okay. So yeah, I'm going to do that. No problem. But it's not going to be like in every video. It's not going to be integrated. It's just going to be one video where I, explain the benefits of it basically and why I was already looking for one. So they got me, but the bikes are not cheap. This bike's like $1,500, So, but the good thing is that it's compact. It's foldable. It folds up and fits in the back of the truck, the back of my SUV. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's one of those with the fat tires and stuff, good for like, riding around if you have to, like if your car breaks down or if you want to ride around town or if you live in the city, definitely they're a good thing to have. So I look forward to it. Right. I know. So Google's AI got you, Nate. Someone did. But I don't have any problem with that. I don't feel like this e-bike, I don't feel like it dilutes the brand. It doesn't go against any of my principles or anything like that. Because it's so different than what anything that you know what I mean? It's not, like I said, it's not some piece of junk fertilizer or some piece of junk equipment that I'm trying to promote for gardeners and say, well, you really need this because, boy, I didn't know what I was doing in the garden before I got this little silly garden planter or before I got this little trinket tool that, boy, thank goodness I found this tool. No, none of that stuff. Or this garbage fertilizer. No, none of that. But this e-bike, sure. So yeah, that's coming. So if you would all just watch that, even if you're not in the market for it, just watch that video for me. Leave a thumbs up, leave a comment. I would appreciate that. I would appreciate that. Yeah, Mountainside Homestead says, I've seen the electric bikes. I think they would be great to have for survival. Definitely, because this one can be charged with a solar powered generator. So it's and it's got a 55-mile range on it, and it's all small. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm going to charge it with the solar generator just so that people can see. This is a good setup if you want it. So, oh man, yeah. Taida says that would be perfect in the van. Psh, many of you know, for 2 years I lived in a van, traveling around and stuff like that, and it was awesome. But if I had one of these, oh my goodness, I probably would have gotten in too much trouble with it. Andre says, hi Nate, I have a lot of soil in my pots and I would appreciate your advice on how to fertilize it for the next season. Thank you very much. Okay, so there's a couple of ways to fertilize pots for next season. So the worst way is to just leave it as it is in the pot. Now, the best way is to, and I don't know if you have this capability, but the best way is to empty all of the pots into a pile and amend the whole pile at once with manures if you know that they're good, or dry granular nutrients if you have them or if you want them, if you can get them, or compost. Amend it all as one and then put it back into the pots. That freshens everything. Remove the root balls and stuff. Don't think that you're going to leave the roots in there and that they're going to decompose and nourish the soil. It doesn't work like that in pots. It does in the soil, in ground or in big beds, but in pots, it just doesn't work that way. So, and the main issue with pots is that it's not just the nutrients, it's the waste production of the plants. Because the plants, just like us and the microorganisms, produce waste as well that must be carried away. And so it's not just about adding more nutrients, it's about diluting and assimilating the waste products as well. Many of it the plants use, yes, but still you need to refreshen it. So the best way is to dump it all out, amend it all, and then put it back in. Yeah, you could even let it sit over the winter time. So you could dump it all out, mix it with other things, and then let it sit over the winter time, and then put it back into the piles. Or if you had to, you could just, if you had to, you could leave the pots and leave the soil in the pots, but then you would need to put in a balanced dry granular fertilizer in the springtime. Very potent, like the Viking granular or something you make yourself. But it would have to be well balanced. It wouldn't just be a little bit of bone meal. You'd have to put in several different things. Or you could have some compost. If you mixed it in, that's not the best way though. You wouldn't get the best results with that. If you're going to use compost or manures, then it's best to dump them all into a pile and do it that way, and then add it back in. Add it back in either now or preferably in the springtime. That is what I've had the best success with. Meyer Lemon says, Nate, so humid outside and inside, heated greenhouse. That white fuzzy mold stuff is starting to bloom on the soil. Help. So that white fuzzy mold stuff, there's a lot of different kinds. But the number one thing is it a problem? Is it really a problem? And if so, how do you know it's a problem? Is it powdery mildew, or is it like is it fungi based or what? It's hard saying. It's hard saying. I would have to see your setup, and I would have to see the stats on the humidity, how humid it gets. Once you start going into greenhouses and indoor environments and growing over the winter and stuff like that, it gets much more complex. So you need to have a type of thermometer, an information center that will keep track of what it's like. Okay, what are the highs versus the lows? What is the differential? And what's the temperature, what's the relative humidity like, all of that kind of stuff. You want to know those things more because you have to control those factors. So that is much more involved. Yeah. So that's not just like a simple answer. Oh, we'll just spray everything with labs and you'll be good. Now you can try that. Yeah. Spray with 50-50 labs to water, and just spray everything. Or maybe a peroxide solution. I don't know exactly what kind of, or maybe it's not even a problem. That's probably most of the way that is that it's probably not even a problem, really. Yeah. So VA Green says, get ready for videos of Nate riding his e-bike through the garden. Yes, maybe, probably. We will definitely do some fun little videos with it. It's going to be fun. Yeah. Ooh. Mom Computer says, Nate and Tribe, AI attached itself to my computer. It's called Copilot. It won't let me delete it. Taking up my computer space. No AI. It's a takeover. Oh, yeah. It's absolutely, there's nothing we can do about it. There's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing you can do about it. So you have to learn how to maneuver the new landscape of technology. You have to. And many would say that this was the original purpose of the internet, was to get every single thing linked up to it. Yes. And to get everyone, all the interactions, everything we do is through the internet now. You got smart devices in your house. I mean, I don't really, but most people do. And in the future, that's the only things that will be available are smart devices. They've got sensors all over them. It's creating a hive mind, like a neural network across the globe. And oh man, that's for the Thrive Like a Viking channel. Because we could go deep into that, guys, but you just need to learn. Yeah. I mean, there's amazing, unbelievable technologies that are coming out. Look up, what is the one I was just researching about? Reflect orbital. That might be what it is. Reflectorbital.com. And it is essentially this company that has already launched its satellites and everything that will reflect sunlight down to specific spots on the earth during the nighttime. You can purchase, just look it up. It's totally insane. It's a real company. Okay. I mean, things are going to get real weird and crazy this next 5-10 years. Ooh, Donald Hughes says, please don't model the bike shorts. That gave me a great idea. Maybe I will. Yes, look to nature. Possible Viking discount? Yes, definitely. No doubt. Yes. All right, Boney Bates. We'll see you. Thanks for being here. Ooh, yeah. Sam Potzik says, Dear Santa, please send EcoFlow generator and portable solar panels. Yes, I'll have to look at the one that my parents have. I forget the name of it, but I'm going to use that for the video, definitely. Nice fold-out solar panels, little solar generator. Yes. Ooh, Big West says, I wonder what wearing a ghillie suit while riding would do for bike safety. Well, we can find out because I got one. Barbara, $10. Thank you very much, my friend. I appreciate the contribution. Says, is goat liver as good as beef liver? We have a couple of goats going to freezer camp soon. Freezer camp. I cannot speak to that directly because I don't have experience with that. And there's not, you will have to look that up. Now, I'm going to say that it's not as nutrient dense. Liver of anything is going to be good though. Definitely. Now, I just don't have experience. I do have experience eating the goat liver though. When I was in Morocco, we stayed at this village for like a few days because we were just passing through on our bicycle, and they were so like they wanted to show us everything was really great, and so they at the time I called it sacrifice to goat, but they did it in the halal way where they pull it upside down and it stops moving and it just goes totally relaxed. Then they cut its throat. Listen to this, guys. They hung it upside down. This is the women, the wife of the village, put the rope around it, hung it upside down, kicked for like just a second, and then it just went to sleep basically like that. And then they cut its throat and just drained all the blood out, and it wasn't even moving. It just like that, and drained all the blood out. And then once the blood, they let it hang there for a little while. Once the blood was drained out, then they lowered it down. And the woman literally took a bicycle pump, a bicycle tire pump, did something where she stuck it in between the skin and of the animal, and she literally pumped it up. I've got pictures pumping it up, and it swelled the skin up, and then she just basically just shook the skin off of it. I was like, whoa, crazy. And then we continued all day to like feast on the entire thing. The liver we ate, and that was the very first thing to eat was the liver, and then the heart we ate, and then the meat eventually. It was an awesome experience. But so that's the only experience I have eating goat liver. So I can't say for sure, but yes, I would say all liver is wonderful. Yeah. Ooh, big Will Dog. Yes, I probably would. Parent like a Viking. Argo Bargo says Windows now has Copilot mandatory. Yeah, guys, you can forget about it. Look, last week I think that I put in the description the video to the phone to the thing describing the new capabilities of the iPhones. Okay, so the new iPhone 16 have all these AI capabilities, all these sensors way beyond what we've had before, and now it's just totally far beyond what we've had before. Listen to the video. Yeah, it's called like 16 reasons the iPhone should scare the crap out of you, something like that. But it, clickbaity title, but it delivers. I mean, it gives you all the reasons. And now I know right away, many of you are thinking, well, I'm just not going to get a new iPhone, or I'm an Android user. Well, it doesn't matter. That's synonymous. The new iPhone 16 is synonymous with all new cell phones, period. All new devices, all new. Look up the new MacBook Pro. And they're giving you a thing where you can trade in your MacBook Pro because these new ones are $4,000. Okay, and they've got all this AI capabilities on them, which means sensors. They sense all kinds of things. I mean, it's inescapable now. So if you want to use technology going forward, you will accept the AI. You just will accept. That's all there is to it. You will accept or just go back to not using technology, because eventually these old phones like this 11 will not be. They'll stop working. They already basically don't work. When I I have to update it to the new thing, and it can't update because the phone's capabilities. So I have to get a new phone. Now, okay, so I'll just get a 15 then that doesn't have the AI capabilities. Well, okay, a few years down the road, that's going to be the same. You're going to be in the same boat. So they got us. That's the thing. Now you see, ooh, they already got us because we're all constantly using technology. It's inseparable from our daily lives now. We can't not live with it because that's the way our lives are set up now. So it's crazy. It's crazy. Taida says, what was that? Reflect what? I think it's reflectorbital.com. Just check it out. I mean, that could potentially, let me just see real quick. Reflect orbital. Yeah, that's the one. Sunlight after dark. See, Reflect Orbital is selling sunlight using a constellation of in-space reflectors. What? Why? Why? Nobody ever stops and asks why. Really. They're just like, oh, new technology. Oh, well, because we can, because we're so clever. We're intelligent. We're human beings, the most clever of all species. Okay, well, we'll see how that works out for everyone. But I would say immediately, why? For a great number of years, we did just fine having dark at darkness and sunlight. When the sun is up, there's sunlight. When the sun is down, there is none. Why? Yes, elusive, subscription-only smart devices. Yeah, that's what they mean by you will own nothing and be happy. Well, even though most of us already own nothing, we just don't realize it. Even our houses, we think that we own them. Well, it's my house. Okay, well, it's actually, try missing a few payments to the bank and we'll see whose house it really is. And so the bank is just letting you stay there. And you're like, well, I paid my house off. Okay, well, try missing your taxes. And the state will take your house because it's theirs. And so they're just letting you stay there. And everyone's like, oh, well, I didn't think of it like that. But it's like that way with everything now. Everything is designed to be on a subscription-based model. It's rapidly changing, rapidly. Lisa T says, besides turning the pile, what's the best way to turn leaves into leaf mold? I'm adding labs and wonder about adding fish amino acids as well as some compost to feed. Well, that's the thing, okay? So actual leaf mold is just leaves. So you just turn the leaves and you let all the carbon and the fungi and everything digest everything. And the bacteria, you let it all digest. And so it's a slow process. Classic leaf mold, you just basically pile it up in a shady space and leave it. And it takes like 2 years to really break down into actual leaf mold. Now, if you want to compost it, which means adding other ingredients, that's fine too. And to what level you want to do that? Okay, now you could add green grass clippings, and then it would become compost and digest much faster. If you can't get green grass clippings, alfalfa meal. Alfalfa meal, 1 bag, 40-pound bag, $35. That will do a huge pile of leaves. Sprinkle that stuff in there, add some JMS or some aerated compost tea and some labs to jumpstart everything, and then turn it, and that will produce a very fast result. Yeah, if that's what you're after. But it's not classic leaf mold at that point, it's compost. So you have to understand the differences between the leaf mold and compost and what you're after. Yeah. Taita, please do model the bike shorts. Yes, I think we will actually, so we can combine this new fad that's sweeping the nation called underculture. Rick says, they know where you are right now through mobile phone. Oh my goodness, way more than that. It's not just knowing where you are, but it's not really about like the old school, they're spying on me because they want to know about me. It's not about you. It's about your data. That's all that matters is the points of data. They don't care at all about you or what you're saying or doing. They care about the data that you're producing. And when you start to understand things through that lens, it all really makes sense. If you haven't already, look up the sentient world simulation. Look up the sentient world simulation. And so it's all about data. When you understand the power of data and how human beings act and how society, how physics based upon laws and things, then you can understand the unimaginable power of AI, of real AI. I'm not talking about the AI that ChatGPT, I'm talking about the privately funded military grade AI that has existed for a long time already. Whoa, you can predict the future Through the sentient world simulation, you can predict exactly how society and people will respond to certain stimuli. Because this AI can map out, it can do billions of simulated test runs instantly, virtually instantly. And so it will know every possible outcome almost instantly. It's the human mind can hardly even, it just can't really can't really comprehend the processing power of what's happening. So, anyways, Cooking with Shelly says, thinking about an electric bike as well, Nate. Looking forward to your video. Good, good. Now, what's going to be really cool is that my dad has one that the Pinball Preparedness, many of you guys know him, Pinball Preparedness, he promoted, okay? But it's like a Havsco Alpha, and he got that bike. They're about similar price range. But the thing about that Havsco that he has is it is enormous. It is literally like the size of like a YZ250 dirt bike, a super tall, like kids or can't even touch the ground. Okay, can hardly even touch the ground on it, and so it's just like really big, and you can't get it in the back of the vehicle and stuff. So I'm going to do a direct comparison to that huge, massive, heavy one compared to this much smaller, lighter one, and we're going to do side by side. So we're going to see, because I want it to be portable. That was my main thing. I want this thing to be portable. And this one is, much more portable. So let me just see real quick. Look, this is the one basically that that's the one basically. So it's going to be in that color, you see? So it's going to have nice fat tires, but it's nice and small and it collapses. So I'm really looking forward to it. We'll see. If you're into it, then that'd be cool. So now Pete Pender says, Brother Nate, is wood ash brew all good for sweet potatoes? Blessings from New Zealand. There's not a lot that sweet potatoes need. So most of the time, just the soil that you're growing in is plenty. Small amount of compost, but sweet potatoes are the number one crop that will produce a terrible result with even the slightest over fertilization. So now, if you're growing in soilless growing medium like peat moss or perlite, any of those things, bag soils from the store and stuff, then you will need to add some. So yes, a little bit of wood ash, a little bit of compost or compost tea even is perfectly fine. Just don't overdo it. Yeah. So okay, so oh man, I'm way behind. Gosh. I'm way behind in the chat. So anyways, Val says, why update your phone? You will need to update it though, because it will just stop working. I've already tried that. And so it just stops working. Now, how many of you remember when they switched to the 5G? You had to upgrade, otherwise that was it. Your phone would stop working. So oh man, I'm so far behind in the chat. Okay. Whoops. Anyways. Yeah, Garden Horde says the sun thing for no other reason but for money. They say they're helping, but it's just for greed. Oh, for sure. Well, for sure. I mean, but there's several layers of different reasons. There's different reasons because once you get to a certain point, money is no longer a motivation. Once you have a certain level of power, you see, okay, money is inconsequential. So the acquisition of more money is not actually what drives the people more at the top. It's what drives the peasants, the acquisition of more money. But it's they know the truth, that the money is not real. It doesn't mean anything. And so, well, it can go much deeper than that. But okay, so let me see here. Yes. Yeah, I know. Mom Computer said Mark from Self Sufficient Me is experimenting with electroculture. I know. And I haven't seen that video yet, but I just thought, oh, God. Okay. Just do it. Whatever. Yes, they're going to give me a discount code for the viewers, I'm sure. Yeah. So, okay, guys. Oh, we're already 10 minutes over time. Okay, well, thank you guys very much for the discussion. It was a good one today, so I appreciate you. And yes, and we will see the Thrive Tribe on the Thrive Like a Viking channel at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time on Monday. The rest of you guys we'll see here next week. And remember, any of the shopping that you're doing through Amazon, do it through the link in the description. Just get into Amazon. Whatever you purchase during that browsing window goes towards the tribe, and we appreciate that. So that helps us keep everything relatively sponsor free, because now I've got the e-bike, but whatever. So it just is what it is. Okay, guys. Well, thank you very much. And if you guys need a garden consultation, we can still do those. It's $100 for the hour, or for however long it takes to get you sorted out. I mean, sorted out for next year. All right. So, Mark Bass says, I found your channel because of your electroculture videos. Well, there we go. There's a huge plus. Okay. There's a huge plus. All right, guys. We'll see you next time.